everyone, just wanted to make a quick video to update you on how the January value selections have gone, just to have a look at what sort of fixtures we've been working with, what sort of results we've been getting. Wanted to follow up on that trend of away wins showing good value. It's quite interesting viewing actually in terms of the results that we've been getting. Not all positive. I also want to look at ways that we can adjust what we're betting on, limit the amount of bets that we're sort of taking on. The value selections tab sometimes is really unwieldy. It's like Saturday, I think there was sort of like 40 games or something that qualified for the criteria that I'd arbitrarily set. So we need to refine that, obviously, if we're going to find a betting system. And what we want to do is, over the next couple of weeks, look at how we can do that, what sort of parameters we put in, what sort of filters we put in. Do we only look at away games? Do we only look at home games? Do we only look at games with this much value or this much value? So we're going to do that, and we're going to try and find some avenues for you to go down to make the most of the MBM Toolkit, basically. Because you don't want to just follow what I'm putting on these value tabs. This is an example of what it can do. You want to be playing around with that yourself. There's so many ways we can use the data to inform us. So this is an interesting video that will show you a little bit about what's been going on over the last few days, and also a glimpse into the future of what I'm going to be doing to try and refine our selections, as I've been asked by a lot of members to help them shortlist the games that they want to bet on every day. And the value selections tab is way too big, as I said, so people have been asking me to work on bespoke shortlisting filters for them based on what they actually enjoy doing, which I've done about 4 or 5 of them, sort of helping people with that. But what I'd like to do is do one that we can all use. So yeah, so let's crack on with the video. Right then, let's start having a look at the January results again for the value selections. Now, I say results, and I'm loath to carry on doing this in some way, just because they're not actually results, are they? I'm not tipping them, I'm not predicting them. This is purely the toolkit giving you guidance on what might happen according to the stats. So when I say results, oh, we've won this, we've lost that, I mean, obviously I'm all quick to jump on it when everything's going rosy and the ones that I've decided to put on have won. But then when they're not coming in, I'm like, hang on, it's not really me picking them. But just be conscious of the fact that just because I put them on this tab, that's not the only thing you could use the toolkit for. This is just one way that I'm suggesting investigating using it, if you like, and it is sort of like a trial and error. So I'm looking at only putting on the value tab anything that is the favourite in that market and has odds of evens or above. I'm going to change that going forward potentially, but anyway, we'll talk about that. So I think previously we got up to about the 3rd or 4th, maybe even I feel like it might have been the 6th, you know. The 6th was an ugly day, so let's just recap it anyway. Minus 7.74, as you can see there. We didn't have a great day. We had a lot of draws, and because we've got the draw selections running in tandem with this, I don't actually use this to predict draws, so I won't put a value draw on the spreadsheet, even though you can get some good value on some of the draws. I don't actually highlight it in green, so we do sort of miss out on those a little bit. Well, I do, doing it this way. It's nothing stopping you getting involved, obviously. There's an example. You see there's value in that draw there. But anyway, so for that one we got minus 7.74, and you'll see as we go forward, it really does take a bit of a battering. We do take some hits. There's some good away wins still. I'm just going to highlight. I'm not going to skip over the fact that we've made a loss on quite a few of the days, but I'll show you the final result. But I just want to pick out some of the highlights. We've got a nice away win here. As you can see, a lot that are just missing the odd goal, very tight games, but just not quite going for us. Another away win there, a nice home win. I'm just going to sort of pick out some of the better ones. There you go, this is what I was looking for. So we've got a 3.3 point profit in this one because it was odds of 4.30 for the away win, and Possum was predicting 2.44, so that was massive value and it came in. And this is the sort of thing that we're looking at when we're looking at value betting. We might not be winning every game, but when we do, we know we're getting value for what we're betting on. More away wins. So yeah, you can see a lot of them are away wins where we're getting the success. But this was another losing day of minus 2.9 if you'd have bet on every single one of them. A slightly less busy day in this one. You can see we've got quite a good run of wins, but then we've got some minus 2s because we're betting on the over-unders and the win, draw, win, which I don't advise, to be honest, but I'm just being sort of transparent and putting them all on there. This one, it did work, so you've got 0-3, so that one did work, but ideally I don't like to be on this one. Ideally I don't like doing it, but that's up to you. So we ended up with a 0.96 loss on that one. The 9th we turned over a bit of a profit, 2.25 there, which was a nice amount to win. Another couple of aways. 10th of January, which was my birthday, 1.32. Nothing massive to write home about. No, well, it is really, isn't it? It's a minus 5.46, which is not good at all. Again, just close games. So a draw, which, you know, obviously could have gone either way. 2-1, so we didn't get in. We didn't get the right win, draw, win on that one. 4-1 there was a massive miss. So yeah, minus 5 on that one. I'm going to skip through these now because it's going to get boring. Minus 4.3, minus 2, only 2 games. 13th, minus 4.98. This was a big game day with a lot of fixtures. Nice away win there at 3.9. Another away win, and it's the home wins that have been letting us down, really, with a lot of draws replacing the home wins from what I could see. Look at this game, 14th, this was Saturday, minus 10.59, and there were some good wins in there as well, but there were just too many games, to be honest. It's just, you would never actually bet on all of these games. It's massively over betting if you bet on all of these games, which is why I loathe to put them out there as results, because I'm never suggesting you'd bet on all of these, but it makes it look like it's a crap system because we're losing. But you should never bet on every single one of these. You need to use this toolkit to narrow them down a bit, which is I'm going to try and help you do, actually. So I'll show you that in a minute. So if we look, I mean, we had some wins. The Man United Man City game, again, it's I'm only doing here if it's the favourite result in the market and it shows value. But if you were doing anything that showed value, for example, there was value in Man United, there was value in the draw, and Man United obviously won. There was value in unders, which we did get on 2-0. That's a really good one. Here again, there was value in the Brighton win at 3.6, and Brighton did win 3-0. There was value in unders. I mean, you would have never expected if they did win that it would be 3-0, but there you go. So you can see where it works. But obviously, because we're betting on so many games, we're obviously going to get a run where we're not going to win all of them. Another nice away win, and there's just too many punctuated with too many losses, away wins. I still think there's something to work on with the away wins, as you can see, narrowing it down and using those to be the basis of your strategy. So minus 10 in total, and that really was leaving us sort of about minus, I don't know, 20 or 30, I think. But then if we look at what happened on the 15th, so we actually ended up with plus 16.39 profit. So that was yesterday, Sunday, which is probably the most profit I've ever had on one day. And on the value betting system, it was amazing. So we had the unders in Newcastle Fulham. We had 2-0 Arsenal Tottenham. So we had under 2.5 goals and the Arsenal win. Unders in Australia. We had some good results in Belgium. We had a lovely away win for Clermont in France. And then we had, some more unders in France, more away wins for Lazio, which was also 2-0, so similar to the Arsenal game where we doubled up on that one. So it really did go for us yesterday. This is one of the bigger wins. You can see these two here. We had the double ups, and I still said I don't really like doing them, but when they do come in, they come in nicely. So 2.22 for the win, and then 3.3 for the over, so 2-1. And another one like the Arsenal game with the 2-0 away win. So 16.39 points of profit. So it just shows you how quickly value betting swings. You have to be in it for the long haul. I'm not saying a whole year, but certainly a month or so at least to give it a chance to sort of have its peaks and troughs. You can't look at it and say, I've lost 3 days in a row, it's rubbish. I'm not saying you will come out on top at the end of the month, but I'm always confident in it. So we're only halfway through the month, and we're currently, as you can see, 13 points down. But you can see that yesterday alone we made 16 points, so that can be wiped out quite easily within a day or two. So it's just about trusting the process, basically, doing the right things. But there is also an element of refining this, and what I did do is start to look at refining it, and I was wondering if maybe we're clearly betting on too many if we were betting on all of these, which I'm not, and I hope you're not either. But I wanted to know how we could sort of narrow down our bets. And I looked at, instead of at the moment, we're doing anything that has got value, is that anything that's got the shortest odds in the market and is also showing value. It sounds a bit convoluted, doesn't it? But so if we look at one here, okay, so this one, 2.03 and it's 2.20. Is it the shortest odds in the market of the win draw win? It is, so we'd place a bet on that. So now I started looking at what if we only do bets that are evens or under, which means they really are favourites, you know. So evens is obviously 50-50, so you could argue that the Poisson, the toolkit isn't actually calling that a favourite, it's saying it sort of doesn't know. And if it's above, it's saying, you know, it's less than 50% chance of why we're betting on that. So I thought I'd go through the last month and see what happened if we only bet on things that were evens and below and also showing value. It was a bit laborious, and it's quite an interesting outcome actually. So I went through and picked them all out. It means the number of bets that you put on reduces, which is good because of the overbetting. But interestingly, it doesn't mean that you're profiting more. So I went through and sort of recorded the daily totals, and you can see there's quite a lot of green, but then there's also red. And if we get to the bottom, we can see that there was actually a minus 20. So yesterday's, it was minus 16, it was only minus 12, minus 20. And what I found going through was a lot of the winning games that I was showing you, the away games that were sort of 3.8 or sort of 2.9, they were being eliminated because they weren't evens or below, so they weren't strong favourites, but we were being successful on them. So it's not a case of narrowing it down to show only sort of favourites, which is something that I've sort of addressed before, that you want to be bucking the trend. You don't want to be doing what everyone else is doing, which is betting on favourites. You want to be against the curve and betting on something different that's showing value. So it's not a case of narrowing it down so you get even better favourites according to the odds. It's actually the opposite. It's actually finding value in the over 2.0s, which is often the away matches. So next I'm going to be taking this all apart and doing the opposite, and showing you what it's like if we only have bets on away teams that are over, or anything that actually suggests value over 2.0, and we'll see how that turns out, and I'll make a video on that too. So I just wanted to show you all this update. So we're minus 13 at the moment. As I say, it looks kind of ugly, doesn't it? But in reality, as we saw from yesterday's 16-point haul, it can change quite quickly. So I'm going to carry on along this path, but I'm also going to deconstruct all the results and sort of play with them a little bit now that I've got a bit of time to see if we can spot the trends and maybe exploit them a little bit. So thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.